Hello, this video is going to cover how to enroll students in your Microsoft Teams classes. So I'm actually on Homeschool Life right now because that's where I'm going to get the information of who's in my classes. And so keep in mind that you may see, names and data and things like that, but I may blur them out so that, privacy and all that stuff. So what would be most helpful would be for me to be able to see this page and Teams at the same time. If you don't already know that you can do this on Windows, you can make this be on half the screen and something else be on the other half. You can drag it to the side of the screen with your mouse and it'll do it, and then it'll say, hey, which of these many windows would you like to make the other side? I'd like to make Microsoft Teams the other side. So if you didn't already know that, that is something that you can do by dragging to each side. You also can do the Windows button and the left or right arrows, and that will also make them go to the side. But now this is going to be real easy for me to look at. So what we need to do is go to classes. And this is also, if you're a new teacher, you may not realize how to do this yet. So up here, classes is one way to do it. That's my favorite way to do it. I'm going to look at these future classes. Once class starts, of course, this will not be future classes. It will be current classes, present classes, I don't know. I'm going to choose to do this with my Learning with Minecraft class. Learning with Minecraft, there's not really anything here. There's my description, tells me the time and things like that. What I want to go to next is class roster. And then I now can see in the middle kind of column, there's a student column. And so those are the students I'm going to need to add to this class. So I click the class that I'm wanting to add to, and then I'm going to click this ... next to Learning with Minecraft. And I either can go to Manage Team, and then it has a place where you can add members, or I can go ahead and just click Add Member. And what I can do is just start typing in students' names, and it should auto-populate. I'm going to be overly cautious here and blur out a lot of the names of people that I'm doing this with. So what's going to happen is that as soon as you type a single letter, it's going to start suggesting people that are a part of our organization, connectionsnw.org. So as you type more letters, it will narrow that down so that for a lot of kids, by the time you get to the end of their first name, it's narrowed down to the right one. Of course, there are some names that we have multiple people who have that name. And so you would either look through the list and click the one that is correct, or you could press space and start typing their last name. But as soon as you see the name that you want to add, you can either you can click on it, or you can keep typing and click on it later. It's up to you. A couple of things I want to mention. First, make sure that you are paying attention to your wait list. If you have a wait list for your class, that you're not adding them to your team as well. Second, if you're doing this and you come across a name that is not showing up whenever you type it out, double check that you've spelled it right. And if you've spelled it right and it's still not showing up, then you can either post on the Connections Instructors team about it, or you can email help.teams@connectionsnw.org, and we'll try to get it figured out as fast as possible. And that's really helpful actually to know before school starts if there's any problems there. Once you've got all your names added, we're going to use the add button to actually, that's the moment where they're added to your teams. So as you're doing this, don't click close unless you just change your mind about adding students. Press the add button. If you're nervous, do it after every couple of them or whatever. But the add button is super important here. You also can add teachers to your team. So if you're co-teaching, or you have someone who needs to be able to have the same options as you as a teacher in Teams, you'd put them under teachers instead of students. If you add a teacher in the student section, then they'll see from the perspective of a student. But if you add them as a teacher, they would be able to do teachery things. Let's go ahead and click add, and it kind of changes the list, and there's little spinny circles while it's thinking about it. You can still, at that point, get rid of people by pressing the X's if you need to. Once you're done adding members, click the close button and it will take you back to your team page. If you realize that you made a mistake, or if you have kids that after you've initially added students that add or drop, so you need to change who's enrolled, you can use the ... for that. And you can use add member, of course, to add members, but you could go to manage team, and then you would be able to see who all is in your team. There's a couple things that you can do here. The X's are to get rid of that person from your team. You can mute students. So I've chosen to do that right now because I don't want, if anybody is logging on right now, I don't want them to clutter up the team by chatting and be like, oh, what is this? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So I have them muted now, but I will change that when school starts. If you, though, had a problem with somebody not using Teams in a way that you want them to, you could choose to mute them and have a conversation with them about what they're doing, and then decide to unmute them at any point if you want to. The add member button is here, and so that's kind of the gist of enrolling students and managing students and things like that. If you need any help with this, please email help.teams@connectionsnw.org. Thanks for watching.